All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 109 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited if you are spending part of your Friday evening right here with us, or whether you're catching this on the replay. Now, if you think any of the information that we're talking about tonight could be relevant for anyone in your circle, please hit the share button and share the love with others. Well, if you have been following us, you know we have just kicked off our Perseverance series, which I think for 2019 might be my favorite series. I'm not sure yet, but I think it's probably going to tap out in the top 3 for the year. And so today we have our second guest in our Perseverance series, DJ Bob, who is the producer of the DJ Bob Show. Now, he is pretty amazing. I'm telling you, that's why we're late, because we were talking so much beforehand. So welcome.
Hello.
How
are you?
I am happy that you are here, and I am happy that we are doing this, and for you to be able to share your story and journey of inspiration and overcoming trials and tribulations and achieving success. 9 years that you've been doing this.
It's July, and that doesn't even count. I've been doing the DJ Bob brand for 9, but doing little radio things here and there, I would say 12 to 13 years if you add that all up.
So you've been doing this over a decade.
Yeah.
In this entertainment, radio, music. And if, you can take us back to the beginning to tell people a little bit about your own personal story and your own personal health journey and kind of how you got here to this point.
Okay. Well, I was born 3 months early on December 2nd, 1994, and I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. I was born 1 pound 11 ounces, and at the age of 2, I was diagnosed with CP, and the one thing that I really connected with from the beginning, my mom even says that whenever my numbers were like skyrocketing, like they couldn't get the levels right, they were put on the radio and everything would be regulated.
So the music.
Yeah. So when people say it's in my blood, I guess you could say that it kind of is literally too. So,
from the very beginning.
Yeah.
From the very beginning. And I know you were sharing with me that when you were young, 3 and 4 years old, you have other siblings, right?
Yeah, I have 2 older sisters.
And they love music.
And they were older, so they were into that MTV, the pop music boom of the 90s with Backstreet Boys and all that kind of pop culture stuff. And it was weird because most people would be watching Nickelodeon, and trust me, I would be watching that too. But then I'd be watching MTV and wanting to know what the latest song was. So, I became obsessed with that whole world.
And you were saying that even for like some of your Christmas presents, things like that, when you had extra money, you wouldn't go to the toy aisle at the store. You would go to buy the latest music.
Yeah, I mean, even with toys I did have, every toy was DJ related, whether it be a radio transmitter or a karaoke machine. Anything was music. It was always that.
So it definitely has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, once you started like elementary school, middle school, did you kind of carry that theme through, always still loving music,
Yeah.
through grade school years? And in those years, did you face any adversity at school, any challenge?
It's funny. You asked me if I was still into this stuff then. And it's to the point where, like, every talent show, our school would have, like, classroom talent shows for the class period. And I would do these. Most people would bring in a CD with the song, and that was it. I would do these elaborate mixes of things, and people were like, how do you do that? And I was 11, 12 here, so it's crazy.
Oh my gosh. So it definitely has rang true through this whole time.
Yeah.
Now, on a personal level, with the different adversities, with mobility and things like that, did you face any challenges when you were in grade school, middle school, high school? Did you find that it was pretty easy, friendship wise, people being kind wise?
There were, I mean, it's funny. I guess you could say I'm a long time listener, first time caller to this show, so I hear a lot of stories.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't gotten that. I'm lucky that I never got really, you know, bullied or teased or anything like that it was generally because most people didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
That was it,
Right,
and I'm very thankful for that.
right. Because that's really what we need to do more in the world, right? Is if we can make people understand, because people are usually intimidated by what they don't understand, which usually leads them to not
Yeah,
being kind because of they're intimidated and they don't get what's going on. So, so did you find that when people didn't understand, you would just explain it to them and it
I
was
would just I would just talk to them like I would just I wouldn't even say, look, I have this disability. Not because I was ashamed of it, because I knew that they didn't want to sit down and hear a lecture.
good? Mm-hmm.
I said, look, this is what this is, and this is how you treat me. This is what you do.
I love it. I love it. Now, when we were talking, you said, going all back all that way, that you have been doing this for like almost 12 to 13 years, but the DJ Bob show has been going on for about it's going to be 9 years. So
Right.
what was the moment that you decided that you were going to do this and make it public?
Okay, well, let me back up a bit because I skipped the whole
Okay.
part of the story.
Okay.
Um, I had, like, I had been doing little radio shows in my bedroom, the classic cassette recorder deal for years. And then streaming became prevalent in around 2006 or 2007. And that was like a new toy box. That was all I needed to know. I wanted to create something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started working for several radio stations. And I'll tell this story because this this guy's my former boss, and we joke about this story all the time. I got fired from one of these radio stations because I was chewing with my mouth full, eating on the air.
Oh.
I know. And ever since then, he jokes with me. He's like, when I do a show, he's like, did you, are you eating while you broadcast today? And that's 9 years later. So but then I realized that, like, I want to be my own boss. So then I created the DJ Bob Show one summer night because I was bored. And what's interesting is I just had a name too. It was just the DJ Bob Show. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that.
You didn't know what it was all going to become, like all the layers you were going to add to it.
It just had a name. That's it. Didn't know any segments. I didn't know anything. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just happened. So we launched the Facebook page on July 3rd. And then 2 weeks later, we did a 4 hour, God, 4 hours, 4 hour live show. Obviously, that didn't work out too well because I'm doing pre-recorded stuff now. But it taught me what I needed to know to be able to produce worthwhile content.
So those beginning shows were longer, trying to teach you the elements that you needed so that you knew what you were doing with all your equipment, your stuff, and
not to mention, it was July in New York City, so you're like in the scorching hot. You're sitting there with no air conditioning for 4 hours. After those early shows, I slept. Yeah, so.
And so you did that one live, and then when did you get to the point that you started to like pre-record, right?
It's funny, I bring up that boss a lot that fired me. He hired me back a while. He hired me back after years of not working with him, and he said, "Look, obviously you can't handle live. It's too much for you to do." And that's true because it's very physical. You have to click this, hit that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. It's a little faster pace.
So I'd rather just, if I mess up, do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So then, and that was in 2014.
Okay.
And what's interesting to note is if you look at my Facebook page now, here's the DJ Bob Show.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nostalgia based about stuff that I grew up with, right?
Okay.
But back then, it was a very basic top 40 show, basically what you would hear on the radio. But then I realized that's not me. That's me trying to be somebody else. So then I started doing stuff that I enjoyed. So now it's that stuff and the stuff that I grew up with and love and enjoy. So there's that.
Now you're doing everything solo and independent now, right? Or do you still do stuff for other radio stations and things like that?
What I do is I do something unique. So I'm doing stuff by myself, but I offer the show out to other stations to pick up. Kind of like an affiliation deal
Mm-hmm.
where they have the tools, I give them the tools, and then they do whatever they want with it.
Okay.
But I'm not working with them per se.
Okay. And during this journey, obviously you talked about a little bit of, the ups and downs with your boss. Did you face in this industry, in this music industry, any challenges or adversity or people being very accepting of what you were producing and what you're doing?
Well, it was hard, and it's not even disability related. People see some kid doing this, and they put their guard up.
Right.
They automatically do that, disability or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They think you're
But
young, you might not know as much.
but then they see the credentials and they're like, oh.
He knows what he's doing.
They're like, oh, this is what this guy does. So yeah, I mean, it takes a lot to prove to people that you can do these things.
Mm-hmm. And during some of this, Did you have to kind of push yourself at times? At times, did you kind of get tired and like, oh, I'm going to stop or I need a break? And you know that you have to kind of give yourself that extra push to say, this is my dream. I want to keep going after it.
I like even up to a few months ago, like I was down. I was like, people don't listen to this. That's literally what I would say to myself sometimes. And then it's like, then I do a good interview, and then it all changes. Like I want to do more. So after the experiences that I do have, it make it all worthwhile.
Right. And I bet if you look back at all of your recordings over the last 9 to 13 years, doesn't that make it worthwhile to see like all the content and all you've learned and how far
Yeah.
you've come?
I have a funny story to share regarding that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I this past holiday season, I didn't have a Christmas special to run this year. I always have a Christmas special, but I didn't have anything. So all my stuff is archived from the beginning. I was very smart about that. So I have current Bob to prepubescent awkward Bob. So I figured why don't we run my first ever Christmas special from 2007 and kind of re-edit it a little bit and make it current.
Right.
It was so bad I couldn't do it. Like there was echo, you couldn't even treat the sound. You couldn't even fix it. And even listening to that whole thing, I'm like, oh, this is why I do that now instead of that.
Right. You look at how far you've come.
Yeah, but the fact that I couldn't repurpose it says something.
Do you know that my first podcast took me 12 hours to figure out how to edit and upload? So,
I can believe it.
right. And now I'm on 109 and I can do it in
Yeah,
moments. So,
it depends on what your workflow is and how you manipulate your software. I mean, just take an example. I type with one finger,
mm-hmm.
and I type really fast with that one finger. So, if you're ever doubting yourself about doing anything, just remember the one finger, okay? Because it's, you know, it's worthwhile to
Right.
hear that stuff again.
Mm-hmm. And to go back and to listen to those different, the different things that you recorded and how far you've come. There's no echoes in your recordings anymore.
Well, depends if the door is open in my house. It's a home studio,
But
but
you know
like
how to not have echo.
what?
You know the things that you have to do to not have an echo, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you've learned all that.
and even if I had even if there's a bad piece of audio, I can just redub it,
Mm-hmm.
re-record that one piece, and edit it in seamlessly so nobody knew what I was doing.
That's much.
Nobody knew that there was a glitch.
Mm-hmm. So you've learned all the tricks over these
Yeah.
years of how to do it.
And I
And
taught myself, you know this, you know this, there's no guidebook for this.
right, there isn't. There's no
You
easy way.
have to teach yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
now I sometimes mentor people that are in my predicament that want a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and I realize how much they have available to them that I didn't have.
Right, because now podcasting is so big. There's so
Because you
many
have
people
to
doing
remember
it. Mm-hmm.
when I started, podcasting was in its infancy.
It was that many years ago. Mm-hmm. And now there's courses and classes and all this other stuff that people can take and books and.
Yeah, and that's another thing I want to point out. There's no specific way to do a podcast. There's no step one, step two, this is what you do. There are some guides and there are some tips, but you have to formulate your own formula and what you have to do to make your podcast great.
And make it uniquely yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's why people are following, watching, and that's what makes it you. Because we're all limited editions, right? In what we do. We're all unique that way. What would you say if today there was an audience listening or somebody picks this up that maybe is facing challenges and adversity against their dreams and the things that they hope? What would be any advice, some advice that you'd give to others that are trying to pursue some of these things?
Well, if you want, first of all, I applaud you, whoever you are, for doing it. Because it gets jungle out there. And my advice would just be to know who you are. Know what your brand is. Know whatever content you are trying to bring to this world. And you can copy people in the beginning. Everybody does that. But then take what you've heard and then build upon it. That's what I have to say about that.
Like you were saying, making it uniquely yours. So, you're going on your 9th anniversary of the DJ Bob show this year, right? In July.
Might I point out that that's strange even to write, let alone say.
The 9th anniversary, right? Because did you say it's July? That's your anniversary?
Yeah.
All right. So that's only a few months away. You're going on your 9th anniversary. So what can the folks expect? What's coming up for your show? What are things you're working on?
Well, there are a few things that I want to bring up before we even get into that. I haven't really spoken about who I've interviewed and the types of people that I speak to. So I tend to gravitate towards people from my childhood or from the entertainment industry. Like, for example, I was a big fan of this Disney Channel series called Bear in the Big Blue House.
Oh.
That was huge in the 90s.
Yes.
And I spoke to the main performer of Bear, and his name is Noel, and we've become great friends, and I've interviewed the entire cast. In fact, I was even asked to reunite them for their 20th anniversary of shooting that first season of their show. Really? And that was super cool to be asked to do that.
So do you do a lot of your interviews with more people with musical background in the entertainment industry that are on shows? Who do you primarily seek out or that seek you out?
Getting musicians are really hard. So if I totally focused on musicians, I wouldn't have a show.
Okay.
So what I just try to do is write a list or think in my head, who do I want to hear from that I haven't heard from in a long time? Or do you remember, or it's like, I'll think in my head, do you remember that kid from the commercial that this happened? I want to hear from that kid. So it's highlighting the past and the present and the future in one podcast.
I love that. Do you have that written down somewhere?
It's my slogan.
We just said it. We need that. We need that on the cover of something. Mm-hmm. So focusing on all those different areas. So you think of individuals, you think of music, different things that take you to a certain place from the past and the present, and you seek that out to be on the show.
Yeah, even if like I'll be on YouTube and I'll be like, I remember the commercial. I wonder if I could find somebody who worked on it. And then I just go crazy. I basically stalk them until they do it, you know? And sometimes
Well,
it
that's one
works.
way of doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's determination. You could call it that too, not stalking. You're determined. You're
But it is
determined.
stalking to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Who
yeah.
was your favorite person you've ever interviewed?
Oh, that's hard. Because there have been so many amazing people that I've been able to call my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have to say, the ones that hit me the most are the ones that are major. Like, I don't know if you've heard of the film Wonder that came out a few years ago.
Yes, I did a promotion for that here in my state. Mm-hmm.
Well, without going into detail, the director of that movie, his first film, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, changed my life in a major way. And turns out he was directing Wonder. So the minute I heard that he was directing Wonder, I knew I had to be involved. So my friend and I, um, my friend Pat Giles, who is an ad agency guy, and he designed all the boxes for like Count Chocula and Cookie Crisp and all those things. He's a big giant animation. I'm proud to call him my friend. But he said, "Look, we're gonna contact Lionsgate, and we're gonna like find this. We're gonna find whoever we have to find. So somehow, after the movie came out, we got in contact with the producer of the movie, and we did an interview.
You did?
That was huge.
That is huge.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I need to go back and listen to that. So from the,
that was a big one.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And
And
that was such a phenomenal movie.
and the cool thing about that is we knew that we were doing the interview when the movie came out. We knew. So that Friday when it came out, I went out. I went with my friends who I interviewed and met through the show, the ad agency guy,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw the movie together and met for the first time in person on the same day.
Oh my gosh, how cool is that?
So that was like a turning point thing for me. Like,
That would be what I would call a win. Like, what an awesome day.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
these people are my friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't say that to brag.
Right. But it's nice to know, and they respect what you do, and you respect what they do. And that's wonderful,
Yeah, it's
and
really great.
is there any other interview you'd like to share with us?
Let's see. So another one that means a lot to me, going back to when I was 3 years old, I talk about liking pop music and all that stuff, but I was also a fan of the PBS series Arthur.
Oh, I love Arthur.
I love that show so much. So I thought it would be cool to to find the original Arthur, the voice of him. And he's nowhere to be found. He doesn't have a website. He doesn't act anymore. I found his resume and I emailed him. This is his first interview about Arthur in 20 plus years.
And he did that with you?
Yes.
How phenomenal is that? When was that?
That was November. That was,
Nice.
and now people are finding me through that because they want to know where he is.
I
And they're
have a
like, "Can you
whole
get me in
series
contact
where
with them?" I'm like, "Nope, that I can't, because privacy and all that." But
right,
it's so cool that I can be
connect,
the exclusive source for these nostalgic things.
right. And and you can connect. And you know what you're showing, when I listen to you, for others that are listening that may face adversity and challenges within the things that they're going after for their dreams, what you're showing me is that you don't settle. If you can't find something, you continue to seek it out. You continue looking up
Oh,
names. You
it
continue
bothers me.
reaching out.
If I don't do it, it bothers me.
Uh-huh.
You know?
And that is drive. And that's the determination that it takes to pursue your dreams. Is that even if you get challenges or you don't have the right email or the right stuff, you just keep on looking.
It's it's funny because I was I, it took me like it took me 3 weeks to like muster up the courage to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do it at first
Right.
because it's really like a cold call. Like, now, if this person had a manager, if this person had a website, it'd be different. But I literally found this email out of thin air.
Right.
What if this guy thinks I'm up to something?
Right.
But I just sent it and he responded back. The cool thing is he listened to the show to find out what he was getting himself into. That was super cool because people don't do that.
Right. Right.
And he did. And that was fun to. And the interview you hear now, the one that I posted,
Mm-hmm.
is I might release another episode. That's how much we have with him.
That's how much you talked.
That's how much we have with him. Like, there could be 2 more episodes with just him.
Oh my gosh.
But he cursed so much
Oh,
that I had to like beep him out a bunch.
you're beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, but it was fun though. And I heard that. I heard him, and he he's gonna sign all my memorabilia that I have, and just making those connections is super cool.
That is super cool. And you know what they say? You said it took you 3 weeks to kind of muster up to send him that email. But what do they say? They say that if you're not afraid of things, your dreams aren't big enough, right? So
Right.
to go afraid anyways.
It's funny, like, but right after that interview happened, I was. It was right before Thanksgiving, and we had a deadline to get it out because people really wanted it. It almost didn't go up, and now it's our highest rated episode of our show. So
That is wonderful. And so there might be more episodes to come out. That's what you're
there
telling me.
might be. I'm not sure because it might be a little too. I mean, I don't like to keep it rated G, but I kind of like to keep it for families.
Right. That PG area.
Like, even if we go a little 13,
Mm-hmm.
but but if it, I felt bad. I felt really bad that I had to mark that one as explicit on iTunes because that's not. But if I had deleted every curse that he did, it wouldn't be normal.
Right, right. Because then you're
I
editing.
wanted to keep it as natural because when you over edit, people can tell.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And people know and people get it and they they're aware of it. So yeah, that one, and I mean there are several others that I could even bring up. That if you look around my studio here, it's full of like collectibles and
And
fun
where did
stuff.
all
And
those come from? Did you get those, or is that from working with the companies, or have you?
that's my stuff. I pride myself in having these cool collectible pieces and just having. Cause this is my studio. I have a bedroom too, but my parents knew after a while. They're like, okay, he's gonna be doing this for a while.
He needs.
Like you have to. He's gonna be doing this for a while. You have to like get him a studio.
Hmm.
So they did.
That is awesome. And yeah, it's nice because everything you love is right around you. And that's a great place to have, for you to be sharing and talking with others and as your home base for your studio area.
Great.
So what is next? Can we are you ready to move on to that? Did you want to share anything else? Because or else I
Oh yeah.
want to
Well, I
know
guess we can
coming
talk
up.
about who I would like to
Oh,
have
who you would
on the
like to.
show.
All right, you
Um,
tell me. Let's work on it.
I really want um LeVar Burton, the host of Reading Rainbow. I think that'd be fun
Mm-hmm.
because he got one heck of a career, and he's you know just a good dude, and I've seen him in interviews and things like that. And one of my biggest things growing up was Rugrats. So anybody from that show, period,
Mhm.
would just like I normally don't get excited or geek out audibly, but that one I just might.
So how are you going about pursuing then to get like some of those directors and stuff for like of the Rugrats or Reading Rainbow? Have you grabbed and got emails now, or what's your strategy?
What I just do is I go any possible avenue. I'll go on Twitter, I'll go on Facebook, and I'll email their management, and if keep pestering them because not like every week or like every 2 years I'll check back like, hey, you ready yet?
I love your persistency. Hmm.
Because when you're like annoying about it, they won't want to do it at all.
Hmm. But you're revisiting it. So you're opening the opportunity. And if they're not ready, you're coming back 2 years later saying, hey, are you ready now?
Yeah, yeah, you ready? Yeah, I mean, there's just, and another thing I want to do is really focus. Like when I first started the show, I really wanted to be like a showman. Like this is my show, and you're gonna listen to it. But now I want to transform that into just being me, like I'm talking to you now.
Hmm.
So whenever I record an episode, I want it to be like you're sitting in here with me. You're
Right.
not sitting down having a ticket to my show, you know?
You want it to be more natural conversation.
Because I did that whole fast talking DJ thing a mile a minute, and it it didn't work.
Hmm. Or maybe it was a phase, you know what I'm saying? In all of our lives, we go through different chapters and seasons of our life and things for you to try. So you tried that. So it's good because you know that, you've done it and you know how it is. And now you're ready to move on to other types of interviewing.
Because cause one of my strong suits, and we were talking about this before we went on here, is editing.
Hmm.
And I am a stickler when it comes to editing. Like people who know me can tell you, I have several mixes of different episodes because I don't like the way one word sounds or one piece of music or one edit or one transition. So if you go through my files, there are like 5 different mixes of several different episodes.
So that
Yeah.
you get it just right, so that you're good with it.
But I have them. They're fun to look back to. They're fun to look back on. And what I really want to do in 2019, possibly when we turn on our anniversary, I want to do a bloopers episode.
Okay, that would
I
be.
want to do a, hey, I keep all those in a locked vault that no one can ever see. But I feel like I want to unearth those and kind of play with them a little bit. Speaking of that, one of my favorite shows I ever did was for April Fool's Day one year. I got my mom to do this bit where she hijacked my computer and she did a show for an hour and we called it the DJ Mom Show.
I love it.
And she was saying we recorded some fun stuff and I just like doing bits like that that are they kind of test me. Like, how can I make this believable? So sometimes there are like extravagant productions that I try to do. Other times they're just basic shows.
Okay. And so one of the things that might be coming out then for July will be a blooper show for your anniversaries.
I'm already thinking of a name for that, like the DJ Bloop Show. like a play on words kind of thing. Yeah.
So what's coming is, I mean, you're gonna continue to pursue all.
Yeah, we're gonna be We're gonna be. We took a little bit of hiatus for the past 2 months because of technical issues and fun stuff like that. Not really fun. That's total sarcasm. That's a warning for you. But now that honestly, doing this and this show with you this evening has inspired me. Because it's been a long time since I've even done video. I'm kind of like self-conscious about how I look on video. So the fact that I'm doing this with you, even it's a step.
Yeah, but you're doing great.
I'm not hearing you. We have.
Oh, your cord came out.
Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Hang on a minute.
It's your cord. Oh. I think he'll be back in a second. As soon as he realizes that it is there. So we'll give him a minute. As we're hanging out here, are you coming back? I think so. Let me see here. Oh, let's turn your your video on. Well, hopefully he will be back in 1 second. And Instagram, I think you're going to cut me off in probably a minute or so because we're almost to that hour mark.
Okay.
Are you back? I was
Hello.
like, oh, come. I was like, it's the cord. The cord had fallen out.
I'm alive. Wow.
You're
okay.
here. I know. I was like telling Instagram, we probably only got a few minutes left. They max you out at an hour on Instagram Live.
All right. Well, we're here now, so we'll cram it in.
Yeah, so you're doing awesome on video. I'm so inspired by all that you've done, and you have a lot coming up that you're looking at, from the interviews that you have in the pipeline that you're working on. to doing a blooper show. And I mean, you're going to be celebrating your 9th anniversary. That's almost a decade. That's something to be very proud of. Very proud.
That I know. And like I said, even writing it is just strange.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, because, you know, when you're 15 and you're starting it, you just think of it as a fun summer hobby thing.
Mm-hmm.
But but after a while, uh, it goes, wow, this is something bigger than I expected.
Right. You're fulfilling your dreams.
It's it's really awesome, and like I said, this has been beyond. It's just been beyond my expectations. You know, doing this with you, and you know, dusting off my video chops. It's just it's fun, and thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you, DJ Bob. You inspire me. You inspire me to be better. Mm-hmm. And to keep on driving and striving for greatness and all the things that we do when I see how hard you're pushing for all the things that you want to accomplish. So if people want to find you, I know we're going to drop some stuff below, but you'll drop like how they can find your show
Yeah.
and your channel and all that good stuff.
Yeah, but even if you want to look, I'm just going to tell you right now, I made it very easy. Just go to djbobshow.com. djbobshow.com, it's all there. And all my social media is there. I made it really simple and easy. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to put that link. It's the DJ Bob
It's
Show.
just djbobshow.com.
DJ Bob Show.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to drop that below and we're going to get that out there. We're going to get that into the comments. And the next episode, when should people be looking for that next episode coming out? So when should they be checking in, following all your stuff?
Let's see. February 8th is when the next episode drops, or when our first episode back comes out. All
right. Perfect. So February 8th, everybody. Actually, what you can do is hop on over today, go to the djbobshow.com and link onto all of his social media. And then when his stuff comes out, you will know all about it, right?
Yep. I've made it simple and easy, and because most times in years past, people are like, how do you find this stuff? And I know when I'm frustrated on how to find something, I want it to be easier, so I wanted to make it something I could do. And so, there's that.
And it's all right there, so people can hop on and they can link onto all of your things. So with that, we are going to wrap up. I thank you, DJ Bob, for spending the last almost hour with me. You are absolutely amazing, and you are an inspiration to me. So you need to know that. And I'm assuming that everyone else watching too feels exactly the same.
Yeah.
Keep great at all the things that you are doing.
Thank you all for watching.
And on that note, we are going to wrap up the show for this Friday evening. If you are somewhere warm with the sunshine, enjoy it. If you're here in the Midwest or possibly on the East Coast and maybe very cold, it was negative 25 below zero.
Yeah, we were like negative 6 the other day.
Yeah, so it's not too nice for us, but nice for others. And you can hop right on over to onairadvocate.com if you want to see all of the services and other social media that we do offer. You can head on over there. If you want to become part of our private Facebook community where we chat openly and have great community conversation, you can head on up to the top of this Facebook page, hit the blue button, and that will let you into the private group. So on that note, thank you again, DJ Bob, and thank you everybody else. You guys all have a fabulous weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.